So welcome to today's Sutta study. Today we're going to be learning about a very beautiful sutta which is found in the Samyutta Nikaya in the Indriya Samyutta. Okay, so it's found in the Samyutta Nikaya in the Indriya Samyutta. Now you all have heard of the word Indriya before, right? When you hear the word Indriya, it's a Pali word. Okay, so what comes to your mind?
Ondamiyachi, Indriya means it is an organ through which consciousness works.
Okay, so when you hear the word Indriya, you pretty much remember the six senses, right? Yes, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, and the body and the mind, right?
Yes, Sayaji.
So yes, Indriya is like a so the eye, it's part of our body. It's you can't separate it. It's always there, right? The ears, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. It's always there with you. You cannot separate yourself from it. Okay. So in this Indriya Samyutta, the Supreme Buddha teaches about five. So in English, I guess the translation that's used is faculties. So the same meaning. So for the eye also we use the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, right? So the word is the same. In the Indriya Samyutta also, the Supreme Buddha uses the same word Indriya, but it's not referring to the six sense faculties. Okay? The Supreme Buddha teaches if a person has these five faculties, if a person has these five faculties in his life, he will definitely reach Nibbana. Okay, so if you want to reach Nibbana, then these five faculties are something that you have to develop in your life. So this sutta that we are going to be talking about is regarding those five faculties. Okay. And the name of this sutta is called Apana Sutta. Okay. And I will share the link with you right now. Okay, so the name of the sutta is called Apana Sutta. And this sutta is the Supreme Buddha teaches this sutta in a place called Anga and in a town named Apana. Okay, so there the Supreme Buddha was there, and so was Arahant Sariputta. And the Supreme Buddha asked a question from Arahant Sariputta. The Supreme Buddha asked Sariputta, does the noble disciple who is completely dedicated to the Tathagata and has full confidence in him entertain any perplexity or doubt about the Tathagata or the Tathagata's teaching? Okay, so what did the Supreme Buddha ask from Arahant Sariputta? The Supreme Buddha asked Sariputta, if a person has complete confidence in the Supreme Buddha, would he ever have any doubts? In Pali, that word is called vichikicha. Would he ever have any doubts or any perplexities in regards to the Tathagata or the Tathagata's teaching? That is the question that the Supreme Buddha is asking from Arahant Sariputta. And at that time, Arahant Sariputta replies to the Supreme Buddha saying, Venerable Sir, the noble disciple who is completely dedicated to the Tathagata and has full confidence in him does not ever have any doubts or perplexities about the Supreme Buddha or the Supreme Buddha's teaching. Okay. So now through this you can understand if now many people have many doubts, right? They have perplexities about the teaching, about the Tathagata, in many ways. Okay, so then through this sutta you can understand why do they have these doubts? Why do they have these perplexities, these questions in their mind all the time? Because they don't have true confidence in the Buddha. So remember the teacher's confidence or shraddha can be explained. This Buddha describes it as Saddhati Tathagatasya Bodhi. What that means is shraddha or confidence in the Buddha is Saddhati Tathagatasya Bodhi. Confidence in the Supreme Buddha means having confidence in the Supreme Buddha's realization. Bodhi means understanding of the Four Noble Truths. Okay, so if a person truly has confidence in the Supreme Buddha's realization, then that is the person who has actually gained Shraddha or confidence. And if that person has gained real confidence in the Supreme Buddha, then the Supreme Buddha teaches that person never gets any questions or doubts or perplexities in his mind. Okay? So when we talk about this word Shraddha, the Supreme Buddha teaches there are two types of Shraddha. There are two types. One is called Amulika Saddha. What does that mean? That's Shraddha that doesn't have a root. Okay, so if there's no root to it, then if a tree doesn't have a strong root, once a strong wind blows away, the tree is uprooted. It goes away, it goes to the direction of the wind, right? So some people's Shraddha is like this. So they have confidence in the Buddha for a very short time. Yes, they practice the Dhamma, they try to do good things for some time, and then once he gets to hear about different teachings and different opinions of other people, his confidence changes and vanishes sometimes. So what is that called? It's Amulika Shraddha. So that confidence is not based on an understanding or realization. So many people's confidence is like this. What they do, the merit they collect, it's not based on Shraddha. Sometimes people collect merit for the sake of doing it. If somebody is doing it, they're also doing it. Right? So those are such confidence where the teachers can change at any time. However, if a person's Shraddha or confidence in the Buddha has a root to it, that rooted Shraddha cannot change, does not change. That's why the Supreme Buddha teaches it's like digging a huge hole underneath the earth and placing a strong pillar inside and closing that hole. Okay, when you dig a very deep hole and when you place a pillar there, right? It's strong. It has a strong base to it. Therefore, no matter how strong, no matter how strong the wind blows, it never blows away that pillar. Why is that? Because it has a strong base to it. Right? So the Supreme Buddha teaches, if a person has true confidence in the Tathagata, then that person never gets any doubts or questions or perplexities about the Buddha or the teaching. Okay? And this is called Shraddha Indriya. What is it called? Shraddha Indriya. It's a Shraddha becomes a faculty. What does that mean? Once Shraddha becomes a faculty in you, it's embedded in your life. It's not something that's there sometimes and it's not something that's there sometimes and disappears in other times. That faculty is always there, no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, no matter what you do, no matter what difficult of a situation you're in. That Shraddha is always embedded within you. What you do, what you think, what you say is based on the Shraddha. It has become a faculty. It's part of your life. Okay, that's the first faculty. And then Arahant Sariputta continues to teach how one faculty helps develop other faculties. Then Venerable Sariputta teaches, Venerable Sir, if a person has full confidence in the Tathagata, then it's expected, Venerable Sir, that a noble disciple who has faith will definitely have energy aroused for the abandoning of unwholesome states and the acquisition of wholesome states. So if a person has Shraddha faculty within him, then Arahant Sariputta says, Venerable Sir, it is expected. That means, it is expected means it's something that will definitely happen. If he has this faculty of Shraddha, then Venerable Sir, he definitely has aroused energy that is called Virya faculty, Virya Indriya. Okay, he has that effort. He has that determination, that effort to abandon unwholesome states and develop wholesome states. He will be strong. He will be firm in exertion. Not shirking the responsibility of cultivating wholesome states. So he will never, what do you call it? He will never be lazy. He will never be lazy in abandoning unwholesome states, and he'll never be lazy in developing wholesome states. He always have effort within him. Do you understand why? Because effort has become a faculty within him. It's embedded within him. It's always there. For as long as this has not become a faculty, okay, then effort is sometimes in some people's lives. There are certain time periods where they make great effort to develop good things in his life. And they make a great effort to abandon unwholesome things in his life. But then that's only for a certain time. After that, he's back to who he was. Right? For example, some people try to stop themselves from drinking. They do that for a month or two, and then again they're back to the same place. Okay. So why? Because that person's virya or that person's effort has not become an indriya, has not become a faculty within him. The Supreme Buddha teaches if a person gets these 5 faculties, then without a doubt he definitely reaches Nibbana. That is a guarantee the Supreme Buddha gives. So that is the importance of learning these 5 faculties and trying to develop them within us. Okay? Then
Ayaji, is it like a strong will to do or to follow? Strong will.
yes, it's a strong will, it's a strong exertion that is always with you. It's always with you. Okay, it's not something that you have for a certain time period and then that you lose afterward. It's always with you. Okay, why? Because it's based on an understanding. You know this is wholesome. Okay, you know you have an understanding of what is wholesome and what is unwholesome. So therefore, with that virya is supported by that realization of understanding. Therefore, when unwholesome things comes into the mind, he never lets off. He never excuses. He never makes excuses for himself because he knows what is unwholesome is unwholesome. It's going to lead to bad consequences. So he does not slug off in abandoning them. He quickly abandons them because he understands the wholesome from unwholesome. That's why it has become a faculty within him. All of these things, they are based on a realization. So we will get there soon. Okay. So we're just going building up in this sutta. Okay. So once a person, Arahant Sariputta says, Venerable Sir, it is indeed to be expected, Venerable Sir, that a noble disciple who has the Shraddha faculty or the faith faculty and whose energy is aroused will be mindful, possessing supreme mindfulness and discretion, one who remembers and recollects what was done and said long ago. That mindfulness of his Venerable Sir is his faculty of mindfulness. So the third faculty is the faculty of mindfulness, and it's called the faculty Sati Indriya. Okay, so now we talked about 3 faculties, Shraddha Indriya. The second one is Virya Indriya. The third one is Sati Indriya. Okay, so the Arahant Sariputta is saying, Venerable Sir, if a person has confidence in the Buddha, then it's expected that he will always make an exertion, make an effort, have aroused energy to abandon unwholesome and develop wholesome. And if a person has this energy aroused within him, then indeed, Venerable Sir, he will definitely possess supreme mindfulness. Sati means mindfulness. And discretion here means the ability to understand what's on your mind and the ability to abandon unwholesome things and develop wholesome things. Now, for example, suppose there's lust in your mind. Okay, suppose there's lust in your mind. So, in order for you to know this, you need to be mindful, right? So once you're mindful, you realize, okay, now lust has arisen in my mind. Okay, now what should you do? Should you just say, okay, lust is there, lust, just say that and wait? No. So now you need to use the Dhamma that you know in order to abandon lust. Okay. So once you recognize there's lust in your mind, that's what's called having discretion, and that you should know what to do at the right time. So once you recognize, once you are mindful that you have a lust in your mind, then now you have to realize, okay, now I have to develop or practice the foulness meditation, or I should look at these things as being foul. Suppose you felt lustful towards a person. Okay, so the moment you recognize it, since you have effort to abandon unwholesome things, what would you do? You will think of that body that whom you felt lust towards. You look at it as being foul, as being filled with, just like being like a pot of feces. So you would think like that. So that thinking like that helps you to abandon that lust within you. Yes, that's what Satipatthana mindfulness is. Okay. And this mindfulness is a faculty within you. And not only that, the teachers, you're so mindful that you can remember things that you have said and done long time back. Now, sometimes if you're asked, what did you eat last night? Do you remember what you ate last night? You remember? Okay. If you ask, what did you eat? What did you eat last week Monday? Do you remember? Most people don't. Right? Forget about last Monday. So for some people, if you ask, what did you eat for breakfast? They don't remember. Why? Because they don't do it mindfully. Right? Sometimes you keep something somewhere and then come downstairs and you look for that same thing downstairs. Why? Because you don't remember that you kept it upstairs. Why don't you remember? Because you did not do it mindfully. That's a reason. Okay. And sometimes people say, last week you said this, and then you ask, no, I never said it. You don't remember that you said it. It could be anything. Why don't you remember it? Because you did not say it mindfully. Okay. So mindfulness or sati indriya means you have mind, not only is your mind always established on the Satara Satipatthana or the 4 stages of mindfulness. You do everything you say, you do it mindfully. You do everything mindfully. Therefore, you can recall everything that you have done and everything that you have said. You're very mindful. Okay, and this mindfulness, if when it's developed highly, then it becomes a faculty. It becomes a faculty when this mindfulness has been developed very strongly, and once satya or sati indriya, it becomes part of your life. It's always there. Then that becomes a mindfulness faculty. It's always there. You're always mindful. Okay. Then Venerable Sariputta says, it is indeed to be expected, Venerable Sir, that if a noble disciple has faith or confidence in the Buddha, arouse energy and mindfulness, that he will definitely gain concentration. He will gain one-pointedness of the mind. And that concentration of his, Venerable Sir, is his faculty of concentration. So, if a person has Shraddha, Virya, Sati, mindfulness, then such a person will definitely be able to attain a concentrated mind, a samadhi. And when that samadhi is developed so highly, then it becomes a faculty. It's part of your life. It's called samadhi indriya, okay? A concentrated mind. And then Venerable Sariputta says, once a person gains these four faculties in his life, Shraddha Indriya, Virya Indriya, Sati Indriya, and Samadhi Indriya. So now he has confidence in the Buddha, and he has effort to abandon unwholesome and develop wholesome, and he's always mindful, and he has a concentrated mind. The Supreme Buddha, Venerable Sariputta says, Venerable Sir, once the person gains these four faculties, then that person comes to this realization, and that is, this samsara is without discoverable beginning. He understands it through himself. This samsara is without discoverable beginning. A first point is not discerned of beings roaming and wandering, unhindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. And he understands through himself. This is the remainderless fading away and cessation of ignorance, the mass of darkness, and this is the peaceful state, the sublime state, the relinquishment of all acquisitions, the destruction of craving, dispassion, cessation. This is Nibbana. He realizes this is Nibbana. And Venerable Sariputta says that wisdom of his, Venerable Sir, is his faculty of wisdom. Do you understand? So once a person develops those four faculties, Shraddha Indriya, Virya Indriya, Sati Indriya, and Samadhi Indriya, then now here we're talking about arahantship. Okay? Once a person has developed those four faculties, then he realizes that we have been coming a long journey, because now once he has the samadhi, if he has developed samadhi to the fourth jhana, then he has the ability to see past lives. So he sees there is no ending, there is no discoverable beginning. Before, he believed it by having confidence in the Buddha, but now he has seen it to himself. So he sees all of these, and he realizes that this is a never-ending samsara, and the nibbana is the complete destruction of this mass of darkness, and that is the state of dispassion, the state of destruction of all craving, cessation, nibbana. He realizes it, and that is done through his wisdom, and that becomes the faculty of wisdom, which is called panya indriya. Okay. And then Venerable Sariputta says, and Venerable Sir, when he has again and again strived in such a way, again and again, recollected in such a way, again and again, concentrated his mind in such a way, again and again, understood with wisdom in such a way, that noble disciple gains complete faith thus. As to these things that previously I had only heard about, but now I dwelling, having contacted them with the body and having pierced them through the wisdom, I see, and that faith of his, Venerable Sir, is his faculty of faith. Okay, so once he develops these five faculties, then he realizes that before I only heard about these by the Supreme Buddha's teachings, but now I have experienced it. Because why? He has experienced Nibbana. Before he only heard about it. But now, by developing these five faculties, he has attained that state of bliss, Nibbana. And when he when he has accomplished that state, then that is called, that such a person is the one who has complete faith in the Buddha. Why? Because prior to that, you believe, or you know that there's something called Nibbana by pretty much believing in what the Buddha teaches. But once you experience it, then it's not through confidence through the Buddha, but it's through experience. You have experienced Nibbana yourself, and therefore you get full, complete confidence in the Supreme Buddha, and that is called full or complete completion of the faculty of faith. Okay, so once a person fulfills, completely gains these 5 faculties, then that person is called an arahant. So an arahant has complete confidence in the Buddha. An arahant has complete effort. An arahant has complete full mindfulness. An arahant has complete full concentration. And an arahant has complete full wisdom. Okay, so through those 5 faculties, by completing it, or by fulfilling it, he becomes an arahant. Okay, and so that's why it said that an arahant is the one who has the highest confidence in the Buddha. Why? Because he has attained, he has gone to the place that the Supreme Buddha has taught to go to. So through his own experience, he knows this is Nibbana. Therefore, he has the highest confidence in the Buddha. And it is said that out of all arahants, the wisest arahant is the one who has the greatest confidence. And that is Arahant Sariputta. Arahant Sariputta is the wisest, because the wisest arahant has realized the most, has the greatest knowledge. And therefore it said that he has the greatest confidence in the Buddha. And as you go down from there, the confidence lowers. Okay, so if a person has these 5 faculties completely, he's an arahant. If these 5 faculties, which are Shraddha Indriya, Virya Indriya, Sati Indriya, Samadhi Indriya, and Panya Indriya, if those faculties are a little bit lower, then that person is a anagami disciple, a once returner. Okay, if a person's faculties are even lower, then that person is a sakadagami disciple, and that is anagami disciple is a never returner. Sakadagami disciple is a once returner. He comes back to the world of sensual pleasures once. And if a person's 5 faculties are even lower, that person is called a Sotapanna disciple, a stream entrant. Okay. And if a person's faculties are even lower, that person is called a Dhammanusari disciple, a follower of the Dhamma. And if a person's faculties are even lower, that person is called a Saddhanusari disciple, a faith follower. Okay, and from that point on, there is nobody who has these 5 faculties. So these 5 faculties are minimally established in who? In a Saddhanusari disciple only. Okay, these 5 faculties, Shraddha Indriya, Virya Indriya, Sati Indriya, Samadhi Indriya, and Panya Indriya, is minimally, in the minimal level, is found in a Saddhanusari disciple. If a person is not a Saddhanusari disciple, then he is said not to have any of these faculties. Okay? So really, then our goal should be at least to become a Saddhanusari disciple. So remember the teachers, Saddhanusari disciple means a faith follower. That means he has learned the teaching of the Buddha and he has formed confidence in the Buddha's realization. He doesn't have much understanding. He doesn't have much understanding, but he has confidence that what the Buddha has said is definitely true. He has that confidence. So it's through that confidence that he is able to develop further. If a person doesn't come to this point, he can't develop any further. The Supreme Buddha teaches the importance of becoming Saddhanusari disciple is the Supreme Buddha teaches he does not die without becoming a stream entrant. If you become a faith follower, if you become a Saddhanusari disciple, the Supreme Buddha teaches that person has entered the path to Nibbana and he does not die without becoming a stream entrant. Okay. So he becomes, and then the next one is a Dhamma follower, and that is a Dhammanusari disciple. And a Dhammanusari disciple has a certain understanding of the Supreme Buddha's teaching. And with that understanding, he has confidence and he practices the Dhamma with that understanding. And therefore, from that point on, he goes and develops further. Okay? So if a person can at least become a Saddhanusari disciple, then that person has these 5 faculties. And this is remember the teaches if a person has these 5 faculties, then that person definitely ends in Nibbana. Why? Because these faculties develop little by little, gradually. And he becomes a Dhammanusari disciple, then he becomes a Sotapanna disciple, and then on, from there on, once he becomes a Sotapanna disciple, he may be in this samsara for a maximum of 7 lives. But within those 7 lives, he develops these 5 faculties to the fullest level and become an arahant. Understand? So we are very fortunate that we at least get to learn we at least get to learn about these 5 faculties. Okay, so once a person learns about these 5 faculties, then that person can little by little gradually try to develop these things. Okay? So Shraddha faculty means having confidence about the Buddha through a certain understanding. It has a base to it. Okay, it's not something that you believe for mere say, but you have a certain understanding. You have learned the Dhamma, the Sri Buddha's teaching, and you have a certain understanding about the teaching, about who the Buddha is, and it's a rooted Shraddha. So if a person can gain that rooted Shraddha, then that person can develop further. And then a person needs to always have effort within his life. Okay? When unwholesome things come into your mind, you should quickly be able to abandon them. Okay? And you should be able to develop wholesome things in your life quickly. And then you should practice mindfulness. What you do, what you say, that's what you do, what you say, what you think, you should do so mindfully. And you should try to learn the Satipatthana and try to practice these mindfulnesses in your everyday life. When you develop these, then once it becomes strongly developed, that's when it becomes a faculty within your life. Up until you get there, it does not become a faculty. Okay. And the 4th one is samadhi. So you need to develop a meditation. You need to practice a meditation and try to calm your mind to a certain extent. Even a Saddhanusari disciple has a certain concentrated mind. It may not mean he has gotten into jhana levels, but he's able to develop a concentrated mind through a meditation and have a one-pointedness mind in his life. So a person needs to practice a meditation in order to get here. And then the Panya Indriya, which is faculty of wisdom, and that is the ability to see impermanence, the ability to see non-self, that there's nothing that we can control to our own self. Okay, the ability to see the cause and effect, the ability to understand what suffering is, the cause of suffering. So if a person tries to get an understanding like that is called wisdom, the ability to understand the arising and vanishing, the ability to understand impermanence. Okay. In fact, in one sutta, the Supreme Buddha teaches, or bhikkhus, the Supreme Buddha teaches that this eye is impermanent, this ear is impermanent, this nose is impermanent, this tongue is impermanent, this body, the mind is impermanent. If a bhikkhu has confidence in this teaching, if a bhikkhu, when he hears about the teaching of impermanence by the Buddha, then if he has confidence, yes, indeed, this I is impermanent. He doesn't have a full understanding, but he has confidence this is true. Then such a person is called a Saddhanusara disciple. Okay. And if a person, when he gets to hear that this eye is impermanent, these ears, the nose, these faculties are impermanent, then when he hears it, he understands it. He relates it to himself. He looks into the past and he realizes, that people in the past, they died. They had eyes, it aged and it died. So he contemplates and investigates to a certain extent, and through that understanding, he gets a realization, and therefore the Supreme Buddha teaches that person is called Dhammanusari follower. Okay. So if a person can at least listen to the Supreme Buddha's teaching and gain confidence in that teaching, then that confidence becomes a seed in reaching Nibbana. Okay, so if a person can develop these 5 faculties, this Shraddha Indriya, Virya Indriya, Sati Indriya, Samadhi Indriya, and Panya Indriya, the Supreme Buddha teaches, definitely that person will attain Nibbana and escape from all suffering and experience the bliss of Nibbana and escape from this long journey of birth and death. So may this beautiful sutta help all of us to develop these 5 faculties within our lives as well and be disciples of the Supreme Buddha who has entered the path to Nibbana in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.